This is National Chessmaster R Rats, and I'm contributing another submission for chess.com's competition to get someone for the YouTube channel, and I thought I would actually play a Bliss game and show what I can offer. I'm going to submit a challenge and wait for it to be accepted. And basically, the way I like to treat chess is Bliss chess is it's an instructional tool. It doesn't matter so much the result of the game. What matters is what can you, the viewer, learn from it. And so here I've just selected an opponent that I can, a friend of mine that I can play. Anyway, I don't really have a set opening to play. I'll just kind of wing it here as we go and discuss the possibilities. What can I do? I think playing e6, this gives me opportunities to play an Nimzo Indian or transpose into a Queen's Gambit declined with d5, and I can also now play the I can play b6 and play the Queen's Indian defense. It's a safe, solid defense for black. I can play the Bogo Indian with bishop b4 check. One drawback with that opening is often black runs a little bit behind in development, and I don't necessarily like that. So I'm just going to stay with the tried and true Queen's Indian and play a solid game. When you play black, you play to equalize first and let white overextend, and then you go for the winning chances. And right now, of course, we're both playing Grandmaster chess. No one is making any weaknesses. Now a3 is an interesting move. As I recall, I think the correct way to play this is bishop a6 first, and then you're going to drop the bishop back to b7. It seems to lose a tempo, and but I don't necessarily like that approach. There's nothing saying you have to play book moves, okay? So you can spend a lot of time on theory and never see these games come up. So the idea is instructional purposes, so I'm going to just follow my tried and true principle: develop, okay? If you're not sure what to do, develop a piece. And now I'll just castle. And, you know, it doesn't matter that I'm not playing necessarily what the Grandmaster would play in this position, because you're going to leave book anyway, no matter how you slice it. Okay, so now bishop g5 is white threatening anything I should worry about? Not necessarily. No, I'll just continue my development. Okay, so now I put the bishop on the long diagonal, and I've got some nice square control. Okay, eliminating my control over e4, which is okay. Black has picked up the bishop pair. Now white's trying to set up some kind of a pawn center. So let's talk about what kind of possibilities I can do here in this limited amount of time I have. If I play c5, it might invoke d5. If I can play safe and solid with d6, this provides a square for my knight on d7. Then I could transfer over the king side if need be, f6 and f8. I could play d5, and the strategic idea of d5 is to try to create a weakness on the d4 square. And if the pawns are exchanged, the d4 pawn could be isolated. But instead, I'm just going to opt for simple moves and play d6. If you're playing a long game, these are things you can think about, little concepts you can think about. But here I've got to focus a little bit more on development, and that's what I'm doing. Now the knight has the option maybe going to f6 at some point. I do have to complete my development. How do I want to do it? Okay, it looks like the bishop on f6. It might be better, since I have a black square bishop and black doesn't, it might be better to try to preserve a good diagonal for it. So I'm going to fianchetto it. I'm going to drop it back to g7 so that I keep it on this long diagonal. That's the basic strategy here. I've basically playing a safe, solid formation without any weaknesses, and I'm consuming a lot of time. I do this, but I don't care if I get in time pressure. What I care about is, can I play a game here that you can watch and learn something from the strategic ideas? It's not about me winning a game. It's about what do you learn. At age 58, I've played countless thousands of games, and I don't care so much about the result. Now the queen's could be a target on h4, so I'm going to go ahead and bring the knight over to f6. This might give me an option to play knight h5, and it clears a couple squares, e7 and d7. I can think about moving my queen to one of those, and then developing my rooks, because they'll then be connected. I don't necessarily have to chase the queen with knight h5, but it could come in handy in a little bit if I want to try to generate any pressure on the king side. Okay, but basically I've played this just to equalize the position. Now, something about having my queen on the same file as a rook. I'll take it off that file and just play queen e7, and we'll go from there. Now my rooks are connected. Possible pawn breaks I can do. Well, white's committed now. Now this opens up the diagonal for my bishop on b7. So do I want to take? I can kind of shut my bishop in on g7. I think what I'll do is I'll attack the queen. Now might be a time to do it, and give white the option of taking and reopening up my diagonal. If she can take pawn takes d6, and I can take back with my pawn, avoiding a queen trade. I like to keep pieces on the board when possible. Okay, so now queen g5. Now let's see. That seems to drop something, although white gets on the 7th rank. Okay, queen takes. I'm having kind of do this quick just to save time. See e5. Oh, look at that! I missed that. See, I don't see a lot of things, but I now have the two bishops for what it's worth, and black's not going to go anywhere, or white's not going to go anywhere on the 7th rank, because I'll just drop my bishop back to d6, and then I'm threatening to play bishop c6 and trap the rook. So I've won a pawn, but it's a double pawn. Okay, now rook d8. There's a possibility that white might fork these two pawns, but with knight b5. But I could play c6, and if knight takes c7, the knight has no escape. Little things I have to keep in the back of my mind. Okay, it's probably been better for her to double the rooks. Now I've got control of the file, and there's the 7th rank. I'll just take it. Oh, there's a fork I missed. Knight. Well, no, I'm okay. On knight f3, bishop takes c3. Eliminates the. See, bishop takes c3, saves my rook. Okay. Oh, now I got two pieces for the rook. Okay, so this technically should be a win for black. I've got to play it carefully. The rook's going to get active on the 7th rank. I've got to make sure it doesn't do much more damage down there. Okay, so now it's the rook can come to the 7th rank and things are going to drop, but I can go do some things on my own. I get my bishops active. Okay, there it comes in now. Let's see, bishop e4. That's a good square for it. And now, like I say, some pawns are going to fall here, but I can do similar things. Okay. Now I should be okay here. Now look at these two bishops. They're kind of powerful. So the question is, can white trade off pawns and somehow get a draw? The two bishops are potent little critters. White cannot check on a8. That square's covered. Eventually, I'd like to keep my pawn on b6 as long as possible. I do not want to trade that pawn. I want to try to win those two pawns on c4 and a3. That's the ending objective here, so that my b pawn can become passed. If I don't do that, I have to create a pass pawn somewhere else on the board. So it's going to require a lot of maneuvering. I don't know if I have enough time to do it. That's not important. What matters is if you get two bishops against a rook in an ending, you'll really see how powerful these two guys are, because they just dominate the board. They just eat a rook alive. Okay, so the next step is to activate my king. I'll try to get the king into the heart of the position of the queen side, so that I can pick up one of those pawns and then the other one, and then get a pass pawn. Okay, she's using a little time here. This helps me a little bit. Okay, let's see. Okay, rook to the 7th. Now, like I say, next step is to activate my king, and I may have to drop a bishop back to g6 at some point. Okay, now the threat is to play a5. Well, if I have to do it, I have to do it. I may have to get rid of these pawns and try to win. Well, see, a4. I gotta take this one. No, that gets to a6. Dang it. See, I don't see a lot of tactics. Okay, that's all right. It's happening fast. Okay, white's achieved a pass pawn. First step, bother the, now the pawn's under attack. That wasn't a good square. I need to get my king. Oh, thank you. Okay, now the question is this a win or a draw? Well, it's a blitz scramble is what it is, and who cares what happens, right? Technically, white... Oops, there was a rook hanging. See, I can't see one movers, but that's okay. All right, so we're down to a time scramble here. There was the free rook, a black one. Okay. Well, I want to thank everyone for their time. Take care.